Let's go have a great day at Disney's Hollywood Studios as a non-resort guest with the new Multipass. Hello, Ma'am Fam, from the Hollywood that never was but always will be. I am back with the second episode of our non-resort guest Multipass videos. Just like over at Epcot, I have got a list of things I want to accomplish here in the park today, and I'm going to be working to get those done however I can. Multipass, fancy rides, standby, whatever it takes. We're just going to go have a great day and show you how the system functions on a regular park day as an average guest here at Hollywood Studios. I am not a resort guest today, which means I only had a 3-day booking window, so I'm going to show you what that looks like. Of course, share some tips and tricks on how to use the new system in this park throughout the day, and of course, just have a nice time at Hollywood Studios with some of my favorite things. So I hope you're ready. I hope you're excited. On with the show. Now, just the quickest little Multipass 101 reminder. Multipass is the system that replaced Genie Plus that allows you access to dozens of lightning lanes across all 4 Walt Disney World parks. It is priced per person per day with access to all of those attractions just once. You cannot repeat rides. And that price varies based on the day. Peak season like Christmas week is going to be more expensive than a random weekday in February. Multipass for Hollywood Studios today was $24 per person. There are also single passes. These are what I previously and still call fancy rides. They are attractions so popular at each of the 4 parks that they are a cost per person per ride to skip the line there. This park, that fancy ride is Rise of the Resistance, and it was $22 per person today. Last phrase you're definitely going to need to know is Lightning Lane. That is the physical place at the attraction, the physical queue that is shorter than the standby queue. So when you're booking Multipass or fancy rides, you're booking access to the Lightning Lane. So the phrase, I'm going to book my next Lightning Lane or I'm going to book my next Multipass, those are synonymous. Lightning Lane is just the place that you're going to skip the line. And a big difference in this system than the previous one is that you actually get to book in advance. Resort guests get a big leg up. They can book starting 7 days out from their check-in day for their entire stay up to 14 days. Non-resort guests can book 3 days in advance of their ticket date. Now, there are some dated tickets that allow you to book for your entire date-based ticket 3 days in advance, but for tickets like annual passes, which is what I have, you have to book 3 days out of every day you want to go. Because of this, because resort guests get such an advantage, there are often attractions that are unavailable or have times that are not as available when non-resort guests go to book them. So that's why I'm doing these videos as a non-resort guest, because resort guests, I already did a video for you all about being a resort guest, and just know you're in a better spot than everybody else to start these videos. But once you're in the park, it's all fair game. Everybody's using the same system. The availability is the same for everyone. But let's take it back to 3 mornings ago at 7 a.m. Eastern. That's what time the booking windows open, and I went for the most popular attractions here at Hollywood Studios. Now, I was delighted to find that there was still some availability for Rise of the Resistance. That's, again, the fancy ride here, and I have seen it where it's unavailable for non-resort guests to book, and I was able to snag it. Now, don't forget, Multipass attractions are also tiered now, which means the most popular Multipass attractions are Tier 1, and the rest are in Tier 2. When you're booking, initially, you can book 1 in Tier 1 and 2 in Tier 2, or all 3 in Tier 2. I went for the most popular attraction in Tier 1, which is Slinky Dog Dash, and I was very happy to see it had some availability, and I went for the best choices in Tier 2, which are Tower of Terror and Toy Story Mania. Now, initially, when I selected these things, there was only late afternoon evening times. The earliest time that the system gave me was 5:30 p.m. at Tower of Terror. I did a little bit of fiddle-faddling initially on that first screen just because I wanted to see if there was anything great, but as I always recommend, go ahead, lock in what you want, make sure you get the attractions you want. You're on a timer, you only have 5 minutes to make these initial selections, and then you can try and modify later. I have found that the first hour, so from like 7 to 8, it's very fluid because everybody's going in to book things and change things, and it's locking a bunch of people in for those 5-minute windows. So then as those get released, there's more fluidity. So lock in the attractions you want, make sure you get them, but then go see if you can modify for anything. That's what I did. I fiddle-faddled a little bit after I initially booked, and then I just kept checking back leading up to today. Even this morning, I was able to fiddle-faddle for a better time for something. So walking into the park today, I have 4 lightning lanes already reserved. I have Toy Story Mania, Slinky Dog Dash, Tower of Terror, and Rise of the Resistance all ready to go. So let's go. And I know I just heard a bunch of info really fast, but these videos are like your 102 level Multipass videos. If you want to understand everything you need to know about Multipass, every attraction that's available, what you should prioritize, how to use the system, how to modify, all of those things, make sure you watch our first Multipass video. It is my piece de resistance. Everything broken down the best way I knew how. That is where you should definitely start for Multipass content. Welcome, friends, to Toy Story Land, where we have our first 2 lightning lanes of the day booked, starting with Toy Story Mania. And I joke about wanting to be in a land with shade at the noon o'clock hour, because this land doesn't have any. In an ideal world, you'd come here earlier or later. But I wanted to get my day started. I wanted to lock in these attractions that are very popular and run out of lightning lanes quick. And the earliest I could get anything was early afternoon, which that's much better than the initial things I got, which were all in the late afternoon, evening. But perk of being a resort guest, you'll have more availability and could therefore start a little earlier with your lightning lanes, most likely. First stop, Toy Story Mania. This is a family attraction, no hire requirement, the OG Toy Story ride. And it is a 3D shooter style game with Buzz, Woody, and all your favorite characters from Toy Story. It is a classic. It's been a fan favorite since it debuted decades ago at this point. Hello. Thank you. And it is a tier 2 attraction and a very good choice of your tier 2 attraction because it's really, really popular, not only with lightning lanes, but the queue, while it can get lower, also can get very long. Like right now, it's 60 minutes. Now, tapping into your first multi-pass attraction is very important because with this system, you can always have 3 books. So as soon as you tap into one, make sure you book another one. And then when you tap into the next one, make sure you book another one. And for the most part, you want to always have 3 booked to maximize the system. It's also important because not only can you book another one at the park you're in, but this is what unlocks park hopping. If you've got park hopping capabilities on your ticket, once you've tapped into your first multi-pass, your next one that you book can be at another park. It also gives you the ability to book more tier 1s at the park you're at or another park. So now that I've tapped into one, I can look at Rock and Roller Coaster, Smuggler's Run, and Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, which are the other tier 1s here. Additionally, you could now modify your other multi-pass attractions if you so desire to other tier 1s in your park or another park. So a lot unlocks, as I keep saying, as soon as you tap into your first attraction, which is why it's important to have one booked pretty early on for whatever time you're getting to the park, because that way you can use the system as much as possible and maximize that dollar. Now let's head to our tip board and see what we're gonna book. I'm gonna go for another tier 1. So let's see, I could do $550 at Runaway Railway, $655 at Smuggler's Run, or $920 at Rock and Roller Coaster. I'm gonna do not Rock and Roller Coaster. I know that's really far away, but that is probably the one that's gonna run out next. And I'm gonna try and fiddle faddle it throughout the day to try and get an earlier time. All right, there we go. Toy Story Mania check. On my to-do list, it said break 200,000, which I did. I feel like I need to up my level, but 300,000 I've only gotten once in my whole life, so maybe 250 will be my next goal. Now throughout the day today, I'm also going to be tracking the wait times and how long I waited in the lightning lane compared to the posted wait, because that's one thing a lot of people want to know. Posted wait was 60 minutes. I waited 8 minutes in the Toy Story Mania lightning lane, and now we're on to our second one. Next stop, Slinky Dog Dash. Thank you. Definitely the most popular attraction on Multipass in this park. Runs out very, very quick. So there are definitely going to be days when non-resort guests don't even get the chance to book this one. I was very lucky that it was available and that over the last few days checking the system, fiddle-faddling a little bit, I was able to modify it to an earlier time. My initial time the system gave me was like 9 p.m. Fiddle-faddle, by the way, is the phrase I use to refresh either the tip board when booking a new attraction or the modify screen when modifying a current one to see if you can get a better attraction or a better time. It has become an art, and I'm glad so many of you have mastered it as well, because I love getting tags in photos and such on Instagram being like, I fiddle-faddled to this. I just got one. Somebody just got Tower Terror, and I'm happy and proud of you. Slinky Dog Dash is a very cute kids coaster. It has a 38-inch height requirement. It's definitely a step up from the Barnstormer. I'd put it on level with like Mine Train probably, not as intense as Big Thunder, but it is a very delightful and very cute family coaster. Now, I often recommend riding at night, which you may have to do if that's the only lightning lane time you have available, or with this new system, you could purposely book it in the evening. Just keep in mind, you can only have 3 multi-pass lightning lanes at a time. Stacking is dead. So if you don't book Slinky Dog till like 8 o'clock at night, that means that one's gonna sit there all day. So you may not be able to use as many, but it also means you're guaranteed to ride it at night. All right, and now that I've tapped in here, I can book another one. I've got Tower next, and I've got Coaster booked for later. I would like to do, I think, another tier 1. So I'm gonna look for either Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway or Smuggler's Run. So Smuggler's Run I could do at 7. Mickey and Minnie's I could do at 7 as well. I'm going to do Mickey and Minnie's. That one tends to run out a little bit faster. And again, I'm going to try and fiddle-faddle it to be a little bit earlier. 7:35 it changed to. All right, we'll see if we can get it earlier. All right, and there we go. Dirty Dog Dash. Posted wait 105 minutes. I waited 11 in the lightning lane, which is kind of a good time to remind you that the lightning lane doesn't mean you walk immediately on, but I think it's very obvious that 11 minutes is way better than 105. Usually my wait in the lightning lane is 10 minutes or less. Now, my next stop was gonna be Tower of Terror, because that's when I was able to score a better time lightning lane. Initially, again, it was like 5:30, and then checking back, I was able to get it around 1 o'clock. But that's pretty far. It's like all the way across the park at this point. And I have another thing on my list that's very close. So in an effort to avoid zigzagging, I just checked to see if I could modify Tower of Terror, and I could. I could modify it for a little after 2, which is great because now I don't have to rush down Sunset Boulevard and zigzag, which I know is something a lot of people don't want to do. Is it impossible to avoid zigzagging? Not always, especially if you're trying to use lightning lanes at all of these most popular attractions, especially as a non-resort guest. And there are going to be instances with some attractions where it's kind of like you get what you get, and that's that if you want to use the lightning lane. But never hurts to check, never hurts to fiddle-faddle a few times and see if you can modify things, especially day of, to accommodate a little bit better. And now I'm going to check off the next thing on my list, which is hug a Pixar pal. There's a bunch of Pixar characters you can meet in this area, including my main man Buzz Lightyear right here. And around the corner, there are even more. So Buzz's line looks pretty long. I love him, but I'm guessing I can find someone with a shorter line just because it's out in the heat, not because Buzz isn't worth the line. They've made to this area like all these fun photo ops from different Pixar icons. And back here, they said they're going to be out in about 45 minutes. And I don't want to wait around that long, but they said some more characters are coming out, like Sully and Frozen and The Incredibles come out back here. But my girl Edna Mode is always here at the Edna Mode Experience, and it's an air conditioning. So this is a really fun meet and greet. If you want to see more meet and greets, I did a video once where I saw how many Disney characters I could meet in a day, and you can see all the characters. Spoiler alert, a lot. There's like 2 families ahead of me, so I'm gonna fiddle-faddle for a minute on that Mickey and Minnie's. A 240 popped up, but at this point I literally have too many things at that time because I've already got Tower and Rise within that hour, so I didn't want to add Mickey and Minnie's too. So I'm only seeing a 750 right now, so that's fine. We'll leave that one for a little bit. Let's go see if we can do anything to this rock and roller coaster here. 920, pretty late. 9:15. It's gone. 9:20. So you can see how refreshing it can change what you can see there. So I'm just going to occasionally do this throughout the day, check back, see what pops up, and hope to move Rock and Roller Coaster and Minnie's earlier. Darling, how are you? Do you like the pink? Is it too much? Is it too much? You get a little pink, got the nails. Yeah, you like it?
I think it's just the right.
Okay, I'm always going for your approval. You know, I want to make sure that you would approve of my outfits. What's your favorite to wear? Just black, classic. A little pop of color, I love it. I do that myself, a little pop of color. Now, could you teach me how to pose as fabulous as you? You hold it? Oh, okay. Okay, get a little bit of the little pat, you know, not too close. Yes. Mm-hmm. Good to see you, Edna. Edna approved of my outfit, which thank goodness, every morning I get dressed, I think to myself, WWED. And phew, I'm glad she approved. Now, this is what I'm talking about when I say this is how to do your best day in a park. You get your list and you check things off and you use a mix of all kinds of stuff. So we've done 2 landing lanes already. We just did a standby wait. It said 15 minutes. It was like 5 minutes to meet Edna. We're gonna get a coffee here in a second. That's not on the list, but isn't it always on the list? And then we're gonna go see a show, also not with a lightning lane, because we're gonna mix it up. We're gonna have a nice luxuriating day, and this is how. Got my shaky Jamaica, and now headed down Sunset, because on my list today was see a live show. That's one of the fun things about this park is there's lots of fun entertainment. And I haven't seen Beauty and the Beast live on stage in a minute. And there's a 2 o'clock show, which is in about 15 minutes. And that's perfect timing because my Tower lightning lane will be right after. So now I get to go watch a show and luxuriate with my shaky Jamaica, which sounds pretty perfect to me. Now, most of the shows are on Lightning Lane. You could reserve yourself a seat here at Beauty and the Beast live on stage, at the Indiana Jones Epic Stunt Spectacular, for the first time in forever a Frozen sing-along celebration, for the Disney Junior Dance and Play. But honestly, unless it's really, really busy, you do not need to. Just get there 15, 20 minutes early, maybe stay closer to 20 for Indiana Jones. That is the most popular one that can fill up the fastest. Obviously, if you want like the best seat in the house, you should get there earlier than that. But for the most part, just show up a little early, enjoy the show, relax a little bit, and this is the perfect thing to do in between some of those lightning lanes. Also, I know sitting outside isn't ideal, but there are big fans, so it's not too bad. But as a pro tip to the outdoor shows like this one, you can bring snacks and drinks. So if you wanted to grab ice cream from Hollywood Scoops across the way, or a beer, or a coffee or whatever, you can bring it in as opposed to the indoor shows. But that's nice. Like, you want to eat lunch and watch Beauty and the Beast? Live your dream.
Bonjour, Mel.
Bonjour, Gaston.
Darkness and the shadows, it's a nightmare. What exciting ride!
We're within a haunted castle, something's lurking that you don't see every day. We want quest to be soaring to sea.
That show is always such a delight, and the shows here are such good fillers in between your lighting lanes. Also, I finally figured something out. And I feel like I've known this the whole time, but I really thought about it during this show. One of the reasons that so many people like the villains, and the reason that the villains get people to come to their side, their songs slap. I mean, yeah, Beauty and the Beast is a beautiful song. But does it go as hard as Gaston? Does it go as hard as the Mob song? It does not. It really does not. Almost There is lovely, but does it bop as hard as Friends on the Other Side? I just can't wait to listen to Be Prepared. Even I am gonna say, Part of Your World, less than For Unfortunate Souls. So I think, you know, the hero songs are wonderful. Don't get me wrong. They are beautiful and they are powerful. But the villains, well, they're catchy. And they catch people right into their team. Now it is starting to spitz a little bit. Wouldn't be a Florida summer afternoon if it wasn't. But lucky for us, our next destination right there. Perfect timing after Beauty and the Beast. We're headed to the Hollywood Tower Hotel. Now, I will say I fiddle-faddled just a little bit while waiting for the show to begin, and just now haven't been able to move up either Mickey and Minnie's or Rock and Roller Coaster, but I still have faith. I did get got by Mickey and Minnie's a couple times, which is when I call it when you see an available time and then you click it, and then by the time it loads the next screen, it's not that time anymore or it's gone. That just means somebody else is faster than you. But that does give me hope that newer, better times are gonna come back. Tower of Terror, one of the most popular rides in the park, the most popular ride on Tier 2. Therefore, lightning lanes tend to go quick for it. But, woo, I got in here just in time. Look at that rain. Most of the time, I've seen them come back in the afternoon. So if you don't get a spot, keep checking back day of, because usually I've seen them come back, which is great news. And right now, I'm just hoping my stay here at the Hollywood Tower Hotel is long enough to have this blow over. This is a drop style attraction, 40-inch height requirement, incredible detail, incredible immersiveness. I love this queue so much. One of my favorites as far as Imagineering goes. I've talked about it in other videos, including our Secret series, just some of the things you can look for on this and other attractions, little details and such. Highly recommend checking that series out if you want to learn about some of the little things to look for that make these rides so immersive. I just had the best ride on Tower of Terror. There were a bunch of Gen Z girlies in my elevator with me, and I don't think any of them had ridden before, and they were screaming so loud, and they were giggling, and then when it ended, everyone was clapping and cheering. It was Brad Summer on Tower of Terror, and I feel like that How Are You Doing Fellow Kids meme when I say that, but the vibes were high. After I tapped in at Tower of Terror, I went ahead and booked Smuggler's Run for a later time, which is also a Tier 1 attraction, so now I actually hold all many hours from now, but I hold all three other Tier 1s, Mickey and Minnie's, Rock and Roller Coaster, and Smuggler's, which is pretty cool, but what's not ideal is that that's the first one I have starts in 4.5 hours. And if I can't fiddle-faddle them earlier, I can't use lightning lanes for 4.5 hours, which I have 3 and I've got bangers lined up, but that's kind of the trade-off, I guess. What I do have, though, right now is my fancy ride for Rise of the Resistance. So we're going to head to Galaxy's Edge and do that, and then maybe it'll be time for a little snicky snack. Also, Tower of Terror posted 45-minute wait, waited 4 to get into the pre-show. While we head that way, let's do a little wait time update. 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Alien Swirling Saucers, 35-minute wait, 7:40 Lightning Lane. Looks like there's plenty of Lightning Lanes for all the shows. 45-minute wait at Mickey and Minnie's. And if I try to modify my 7:30, the first thing it shows me is 9:30. So if you were booking that, you could still book 9:30. Smugglers, 55-minute wait. Same thing. If I were to try and modify it, it shows me 9 o'clock. So 9 o'clock would still be available. Rock and Roller Coaster, 55-minute wait. Let's see if I can modify it. I'm going to guess no. Yeah, so that one is gone. Slinky Dog, 90 minutes, none available. Rise, 90 minutes, not currently available for purchase. Toy Story Mania, 40 minutes, and it's gone. Tower of Terror, 50 minutes, and it's gone. Again, that's without any kind of fiddle-faddling. I think some of those things will come back, but they are very popular for tier 2 choices, so they tend to run out. Now, as a pro tip, if you're planning on doing a sit-down dining reservation, mid-afternoon seems like it's a good time these days. As someone who's been watching the tip board to gather some data, usually around this like 2 to 4 time is when I see things having kind of run out, and they tend to come back. It does feel like if you got here earlier or you had booked a bunch of years earlier, then the second set you might have been able to book isn't until a little bit later. And so like a 2 o'clock late lunch might be a good move in between some of those lightning lanes. Or, you know what's a great plan, especially as a resort guest? Come in the park early, rope drop, ride what you can with those early initial lightning lane booked, and then go back in the afternoon, enjoy your pool time, and come back for those evening ones. Because as you can see, by the time you're able to start booking your kind of like second round of these popular rides, they're a little bit later. Great news, friends. On my walk all the way from Tower of Terror, about to get into Galaxy's Edge, I was able to fiddle-faddle for a more successful afternoon. One, I was able to fiddle-faddle Smuggler's Run to 5:30, and then got it a few times, but then got it to 3:55. I was also able to fiddle-faddle Rock and Roller Coaster to 4:45 to 5:45. I'm not gonna lie to you, it was more labor intensive than doing this at, say, Magic Kingdom, and that's the problem with Hollywood Studios. There's so many bangers that everybody wants on Lightning Lane, so it's hard to get really good times for everything that you want. So you may have to fiddle-faddle a little bit more if you're set on having specific times, but just saying, it worked, and now we have a wonderful little lineup for the afternoon. And when I say more labor intensive, I don't mean hours on your phone. I just mean that when I did this recently at Magic Kingdom, it was pretty easy to get everything I wanted when I wanted it. It took like seconds at a time, versus here it took like several minutes of refreshing the tip board as I walked. And that lineup begins right here at Rise of the Resistance, the most popular ride in this park, one of the most popular rides in all of Walt Disney World. And when I first booked this 3 days ago, I couldn't get a time before the 8 o'clock hour. And then this morning around 10, I looked from my house just to see if I could get it earlier, and there were some mid-afternoon times, so I was able to lock in that. So again, as a pro tip, keep checking back once you've made those initial selections all the way up to the morning of your day, because you never know what could happen. But for now, we're off to join the Resistance. This attraction has a 40-inch height requirement, and it is so much more than just a ride. It's multiple ride systems, multiple giant sets. It is absolutely incredible, a must-do if you're in this park, and not just for Star Wars fans. It's unlike any other attraction in Walt Disney World.
You know the location of the secret base, and I will take it from you.
Tell them it's a prisoner transfer.
Hey, you're not authorized. Wait, those are the prisoners.
Raise the shields.
Shields? I see no evidence.
Yes, listen to your friend.
Resistance.
Okay, you're clear.
Lieutenant back here.
Back. Do I?
I should hope so.
If Lieutenant Beck has 100 fans, I'm one of them. If Lieutenant Beck has one fan, it's me. And if Lieutenant Beck has no fans, I'm dead. Because Lieutenant Beck is such a hero on this attraction, and I love him so much. And I feel like he often gets glazed over for the flashier characters, like Rey and Finn, and Kylo Ren, and even Poe. But Lieutenant Beck, one, the attraction is nutty good, and I feel like because he happens early in the experience, people forget about him by the time they get off. And two, the storyline of like, did he make it off the ship? It doesn't always line up timing-wise, but when it does, it is. I get teary because he made it. He's one of our crew, and you hear Finn being like, he can't have gone down. He's the backbone of this operation, and it's just like, oh, amazing. Also, what's incredible about that attraction, they do this at Smuggler's Run as well, and other attractions have this too, is there's like a built-in if there's a short delay, so that it doesn't feel like there's a delay unless you've been on this attraction a bunch and you know what's supposed to happen. That way, if there's like a wheelchair load or something that takes a little bit of time, it doesn't break the experience. And for us on this ride, I'd never actually had this before. It was right before you go through the big blasters, our vehicle stopped and it's supposed to start going forward. But Lieutenant Beck came on and he started talking to the droid, and the conversation was like, beep, beep, wow, beep, beep, wow, the droid. And then Lieutenant Beck being like, don't be scared, you can do it, I know you can. And then like them going back and forth, and then the droid started moving the car again, and Lieutenant Beck was like, see, I knew you could do it. I've never heard that before. And if I hadn't been on this ride many, many times, luckily in my life, I would have no idea that that was like not a normal occurrence. And now it's perfect timing because we've got to go pilot the fastest Tonka truck in the galaxy. Hello.
Clear the way.
Okay.
Don't worry, kid. I've got you. I'm tracking 2 fugitives on stolen speeders.
Saw Joel Miller and Ellie walking around, and you know, they look a lot different than they did when I played the game, but I do understand that it's sometimes hard to interpret an animated, you know, screen medium into real life, but you know, it's nice to see them out and about. And we've also made it over to the Millennium Falcon, the ship that made the Kessel Run in less than 12 parsecs, to do a Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run. This is a simulator attraction that puts you right there in that cockpit, right there on the Millennium Falcon, where you will have one of 3 jobs. You could be a pilot, the best job, driving the ship. You could be a gunner, shooting at any potential threats that you see. I'm sure nothing of the sort would happen, but just in case. Or an engineer, pushing buttons. Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run has a 40-inch height requirement, and in my opinion, the best part about this attraction is just the queue and stepping aboard the Millennium Falcon. It looks just like it does in the movies, and if you're a diehard Star Wars fan, I know you've been wanting to get on this ship for a very long time. It's incredibly popular. It currently has a 60-minute wait, which is pretty average for this one. I will say it does have single rider, which is usually much, much faster. However, the fun of this attraction is joining in with your friends and family in that cockpit and all working together to successfully or unsuccessfully complete the mission. Riding by yourself as a single rider, in the back as an engineer, most likely with a family you don't know, it's not as fun. I promise. I do it regularly. All right, we have tapped in. I should also note that the single rider queue cuts off some of the really awesome parts of this, like the pre-show with Hondo Onaka, who is an incredible animatronic. So basically, what I'm trying to say is, if you really want to ride this ride and don't want to worry about a lightning lane, you don't mind being the engineer, you're by yourself, or you want to re-ride it perhaps, do single rider, but this attraction has a bigger swing than I think pretty much any others, from the single rider experience to the full experience either in the standby or lightning lane queue, just because, I'll say it again, the fun is riding it with your friends and family.
You'd better be faster when we get into real trouble. Move your stick to fly right and left. Yes, keep shooting. See us. Just as I promised, my friend. Not bad.
Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run, check. 60-minute wait when I got in line, took 2 with lightning lane. And you know what? I once again stand by what I say about riding with your family. It's way more fun. Even though, you know, I was just with a family of 5 in the back as the engineer per usual. They were having a great time, and the kids were laughing hysterically, and it's really just such a better ride with your group. And now, I need a little snicky snack before we leave the galaxy far, far away. And on my list is get a favorite snack. So, we're gonna If you know me, it's probably no surprise that I picked up Katsaka's Outpost Mix. This is from the little Katsaka stand in the marketplace here on Batu. They've got two kinds of popcorn. They've got buttered blue grains, which are just, they're really green. I don't know why they're called buttered blue grains, but they're just regular popcorn. This, however, is a special treat. It's a mix of sweet chili lime, that's the red ones, and blueberry lemon pound cake, that's the purple ones, and it tastes like sweet and spicy Trix flavored popcorn. And I love it. I love it so much. It's kind of a divisive snack. I definitely think it's underrated. People tend to love it or hate it. But I am Katsaka's #1 fan. It's so good. Happy to have this. Gonna enjoy this and observe a little bit in the marketplace. And then we're gonna go, I think, see a show before we ride another ride. Love you! Oh, he's got the moves. Max, are you embarrassed? Yeah. Well, that was adorable. Caught Goofy and Max doing a little dancing. And now I'm going to see Muppet Vision 3D. Why? Because I love Muppet Vision 3D. It's a national treasure. I don't get angry about many things changing at Walt Disney World, but I would be incredibly sad if they took this down. Anyway, Muppet Vision 3D is a great filler attraction. It's about a 15 or so minute 3D show with all of your favorite Muppets: Kermit, Miss Piggy, Fozzie, Gonzo, Beaker, Dr. Bunsen Honeydew, Sam Eagle, Rizzo. It's just delightful. It's a great break inside an air conditioning, and you really don't need to use a lightning lane here. I could have booked it if I felt the need to after Smuggler's Run, but literally there's no need. At this point, it's just 10 minutes until the next show, which means you're just seeing the next show, and it doesn't matter which lane you go in at this point. There's just nothing more wholesome than the Muppets and the jokes they make. Like, make sure to check for the key being under the mat. I always laugh at the "you must be shorter than this to visit here." Read the signs, like the different departments at Muppet Vision. It's just funny and delightful. Here's a detail I've never noticed before. If you look up in the rafters, you've got some of the soldiers that are used in the glorious 3-hour finale, A Salute to All Nations, but mostly America, which is also what the official Olympics Instagram account is called. My favorite Muppet, thank you for asking. While I most identify and believe I'm similar to Miss Piggy, the one that makes me laugh the most is Sam Eagle. Tell me your favorite Muppet down in the comments. Oh, Sam Eagle.
Represent the 3 Ds.
Look at the guy in the goofy mask. That's not a mask. Oh, sorry, lady.
And our demonstration includes a little song from Miss Piggy. Did I say little? I meant to say it's a huge, show-stopping, major song from Miss Piggy. That's more like it. And now, if you'll come this way, I can show you our secret laboratory. Dr. Bunsen Honeydew and his assistant, Beaker.
Hey, come in. See, it's my new remote control dynamic green pie.
Yeah.
What's that?
It was for the big water skiing finale.
Hey, sweetie, that's a great bet.
Hey, Fozzie, Kermit! What is it? Peabody ran away!
Oh, no. What are you doing? Get back to your place.
What do you mean?
The fireworks!
Waka Waka, indeed. That show never fails to make me giggle. A perfect filler attraction, in my opinion. And dare I say that now more than ever, we need the Muppets in our lives. And now, perfect timing. Headed back to Sunset Boulevard to ride Rock and Roller Coaster. So again, this is how you do your days, friends. You fill in the gaps between those lightning lanes, which you book for the high demand rides, with these filler attractions like Muppet Vision 3D, like Beauty and the Beast, like Indiana Jones or Frozen, Star Tours, meeting characters, having snacks. Yes, you can stretch yourself out and fiddle faddle all day long and try and book lightning lanes for every single thing. I know you have to be on your phone more than some people would like during a vacation. In my experience, it's no more than Genie Plus, and it's no more than FastPass Plus was if you were using the system efficiently. It's not a perfect system by any means, but if you want to avoid these long lines, I think a few minutes here and there refreshing my phone screen is worth it. Made it back down Sunset Boulevard. Here we are at Rock and Roller Coaster starring Aerosmith, previously presented by Haynes TM, and excited to tap in here because it has an 85-minute standby line. This is a very, very popular attraction, always has been. It gets one of the longest lines in the park. Rock and Roller Coaster has a 48-inch height requirement, tallest one in the park, and it's also the only attraction at Walt Disney World that goes upside down, not once, not twice, but thrice, as you board a super stretch limo and try and make it across through LA traffic to see the Aerosmith concert. Rock and Roller Coaster, always an incredible time, such a fun attraction. Now, for some reason, they weren't running the pre-show tonight, so I didn't get to see Steven Tyler. Love that idea, but that's not really where the clock would stop. It took about 3.5 minutes to get there. It took me about 5 minutes to get on the ride itself, so we're gonna say 5 minutes out of an 85-minute standby queue. Perfection. But now I've got one more Lightning Lane booked for today. It's about an hour and 15 minutes. I've tried fiddle faddling it, but it's down right now, so I don't know if it's gonna have another time available. But also on my list today, try a new snack. So we're gonna go sit and luxuriate a little bit and then wait for my Lightning Lane for Mickey and Minnie's. But before we do that, unfortunately, I must do a don't be a jerk in the park PSA. And this one has really riled me up, so I'm gonna try to speak in a nice voice. The time of your return time for your Lightning Lane is a set hour for a reason. So if you're gonna be like 10 minutes late, that's okay. If the monorail breaks down, if another attraction takes a little bit longer than you expect, if you really need to use the bathroom on the way to the ride, and you're gonna be like 10, 15 minutes late, that's okay. Just apologize to the cast member that you're a few minutes late, and they should let you. And they will most likely let you in, except for shows. Shows have to start on time. There's no flexibility with show times. If you're gonna be really late, you need to modify or cancel that Lightning Lane to another time or for another attraction. Obviously, if you've got something like Tiana's Bayou Adventure or Rise of the Resistance and something you cannot control happens and you're an hour or two late, I'm not saying to cancel it. Go speak to that cast member nicely and they may let you in. But just say thank you, write their name down to give them a cast compliment, and know that that was the exception, not the rule. Do not be hours late on purpose and expect to be let in. And certainly do not yell at the cast members if they do not let you in. That is your fault. The system does not work if people just show up whenever they want. The reason the system works is because there are allotted times, because they are counting for how many people are going to go through the Lightning Lane. Otherwise, the Lightning Lane, if you just go whenever you want, gets as long as the standby system, and the system literally does not function. Now, again, I know there are things that happen and there are circumstances outside of your control. But if you're going to be hours late to a Lightning Lane, it is in your best interest to modify it or cancel it so that you can try and pick another one up at a time that will work for your new schedule. Okay, let's go get a snack. Gonna show one of my favorite things in the My Disney Experience app that I don't think enough people use, and that's the dining tip board. So here's the regular tip board that shows you all the show times, wait times, Lightning Lane availability, etc. But over here, there's a dining tip board. And it shows you all the restaurants in the park. You can mobile order from here pretty easily, and it shows you the next mobile order window. It'll also show you if there's a sit-down restaurant that has walk-up list availability, like Hollywood and Vine. That's a character meal. It's got a 10-minute walk-up list. Same thing with Brown Derby. And no walk-up listed currently at Mama Melrose, but walk-up at Oga's right there, bang. So this is a great little tool. And again, I feel like not a lot of people see this or know about it. I'm gonna join the Hollywood Derby lounge walk-up list. 10-minute wait. You just go ahead and click one person, however many people are coming. If you need a wheelchair, if you've got any allergies, any celebrations, and then you're gonna give them your phone number and they'll text you when it's your turn to come back. And if it's longer than 10 minutes, I know this is like a very short wait, but sometimes it's like 60 minutes, they'll actually text you a like, you're gonna get called within the next 10 minutes message, which I love because it's basically like, please don't get on a ride right now. Start walking back over here. And anyway, it's a great way to not wait in line at popular places like Hollywood Brown Derby Lounge or the Nomad Lounge or other sit-down restaurants. Brown Derby Lounge is one of my favorite places in all of Disney World to luxuriate a little bit. It's this patio out here attached to Brown Derby. Can't make reservations, but again, you can join that walk-up wait list. You can also get drinks to go from the bar, and you can order off the full Brown Derby menu if you'd like. I usually go for some kind of appetizer or their famous Cobb salad, which is one of my favorite Disney World meals. My wonderful server also just let me know that a lounge-exclusive BLT slider with pork belly is available. And I'm considering that, but also this stone fruit burrata, which is new ish to their menu is calling me, and she just let me know you can order the enhancements by themselves. You don't have to enhance anything except for your mouth, I guess. And she said the crispy green beans sound amazing. So I'm gonna mull over a snack. I wanted to try something new to me, and both of those are, plus, you know, a cocktail, because this is luxuriation time. Surprise, I picked the dish with cheese. I also grabbed a martini. They make a mean martini here, and it just feels old Hollywood to drink a really good martini or an old fashioned. And I just was in a martini mood today to go along with my burrata. So this is burrata cheese right there, prosciutto, some pistachio, and it's a stone fruit burrata. So today's stone fruit was peaches, and this looks fantastic. First of all, the martini. Divine. I know I'm an old-fashioned girl, but something about the hot weather made me want a martini. I don't know. I feel like I'm an old Hollywood glamour. Cheers. Creamy burrata, nice, fresh, juicy peaches. Love the saltiness of the prosciutto and the crispiness from the pistachios. Little crumble moment. It's like a beautiful blend of little naturally sweet, savory, salty. This is lovely. And on a hot day, I'm going to add this to my rotation with the Cobb salad. After a lovely bit of relaxation and luxuriation over at the Brown Derby Lounge, it's time to head to our final attraction of the night, Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. This is another Tier 1 attraction. It is a family attraction and the only Tier 1 attraction that does not have a height requirement, and it's adorable. I really, truly enjoy this one so much. It is a lot of fun, and they've added a lot of thrill into an attraction that can fit the whole family. Also, it's starting to rain, so we're scurrying in. 60-minute wait right now. And hopefully this rain is gone by the time we get out. Thank you.
Everybody have a great time?
Thank you. This attraction doesn't tend to get quite as long of a line as Smuggler's Run or Slinky Dog, but it does tend to have more downtimes, which can cause a backup in both the standby and lightning lane. It's just the cutest attraction, and I want to give a shout out to the hero of the ride. I know you think it might be Mickey because at the end he turns the big machine off and turns everything back into the park and wonderful and magical. But the real hero of the ride is Pluto, who's the bestest boy, following Mickey and Minnie with their picnic basket through every scene, just because he wants his people, well, his mouses, I guess, to have their picnic. We do not deserve dogs, even in the cartoon world. 60-minute posted wait, waited less than 5, and that is a wrap on our day here at Disney's Hollywood Studios. So once again, I look to the mathematician, the man with the numbers behind the scenes, to let me know just how much this Multipass costs per ride and how much time I saved. I did 6 attractions with Multipass today, and they were all bangers. Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, Slinky Dog Dash, Toy Story Mania, Twilight Zone Tower of Terror, Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run, and Rock and Roller Coaster. Dividing my initial cost of $24, it was $4 a ride, which is higher than Epcot. But again, those are all bangers that had very long lines. So how much time did I save by using Multipass today? Today, I waited a grand total of 34 minutes in line, when the posted wait times were 415 minutes, which means I saved 381 minutes or approximately 6 hours and 20 minutes by using Multipass lightning lanes. And again, I know it's expensive. I know it used to not cost anything, and it sucks having to pay for something that used to be free. But unfortunately, this is what it is at this point, and the fact that I saved almost 6.5 hours is pretty telling. Now, as I said before, I do think Multipass is a little harder to use here, just in the sense of you're going to have to try a little bit harder to get every attraction you want. There are not a ton of rides offered at this park, and so many of them are bangers, so the competition is definitely closer. But If you can have the patience to fiddle faddle, if you can use it strategically, if you can come in early and book a few, then book your next tier ones as soon as possible, you can really use this system to the max and get a lot of worth out of your dollar. So once again, I hope this video was helpful. I was able to do 7 of the most popular rides, not only in this park, but in all of Walt Disney World today, as well as see a couple shows and have some delicious snacks, not to mention meet Edna mode, in about 8 hours while here using Multipass and Fancy Ride Lightning Lanes. And like I've said before, you could rope drop, especially as a resort guest with that early park entry, or stay even later and get even more done. But I definitely think Multipass at this park is very, very helpful. It's a little easier to answer, is it worth it in this park versus a park like Epcot, which if you haven't seen that version yet, go watch that episode. We've got 2 more parks to go, the Kingdoms, Magic, and Animal, so stay tuned for those. Definitely let me know what questions you have down in the comments. If you haven't already, go watch that Lightning Lane 101 video or the Resort Guest video if you're going to be a resort guest. And in the meantime, friends, definitely make sure to rate, review, subscribe, follow us on social media, come hang out with the Man Fam Discord. Until next time, friends, I'm Molly, and it's been so magical. Good night. Fortunately, I got to bust my rain jacket out.